Hey everybody, how are you doing? It's your girl Nell, and I am not in a tiny studio, but I am in my old bedroom at home in Detroit. So I would say this may be the first tiny studio, my bedroom at home. Um, I am in Detroit right now, and I am getting ready to fly back home. I've had a wonderful 2-day stay here. As I said in another video, I got a chance to see my niece get married, and it was such a wonderful, wonderful wedding. And Detroit is just, it's home. And no matter where you are as a Detroiter, no matter where in the world you may be, Detroit is always home. So I am busy preparing and packing to get an early morning flight home. And I was just sitting in my bedroom, and you can probably see some of it. Yeah, those curtains, they really need to come down. I have a story behind the spots that's on those curtains. I don't know if you want to hear it or not, but I told my grandmother that the stains will not come out, and I really need to take them down. So the next time I come home, I'm going to take them down. See, many times when I come home to the city of Detroit, I don't stay in my room. I usually stay in our family home, where my husband and my kids were. We resided for a while when we lived here in the D, but we sold that property. So now we are, you know, now we're just staying, with my grandmother at her home, which is my home as well. So this is my bedroom. The story behind those curtains is really funny. It's a funny story because I used to like to drink a lot of red wine. I did. And so those curtains are permanently stained. And you may wonder, hey, Neil, how is it? Oh, by the way, welcome to the channel. I'm your girl, Neil, and this is Simply Nell's Tiny Studio. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and welcome to all of my Tiny Studio guests. Yes, I'm back in Detroit. I'm in my old bedroom. I have shag carpeting on the floor, wall to wall shag carpeting. Would you like to see it? See that? Wall to wall shag carpeting. That's my old TV. This is my bedroom. It's yellow. This is my bedroom. Nothing really has changed. That's my suitcase. I got to finish packing. But this is my bedroom. It's pretty big. Pretty big bedroom. I have 2 big closets. That's a closet. Well, that's really an attic, but we use it as a closet too. And that's a closet. And over there is my record player and some other things I keep there. It used to be albums, but the albums are now at home with me in storage somewhere. And, these are the pictures that's been on my grandmother put on my wall, you know, 50 years ago, maybe 60 years ago. That mirror's been up here my since my uncle Anthony stayed up here. This was his mirror. And I believe it's the same color. It just needs to be cleaned. I didn't get around to cleaning it this visit. Yep, so this is my room. You see that shag carpet? That was revolutionary back in the 70s. I mean, if you went into somebody's house and they had, shag wall to wall carpet, you were rich. You were. And my grandparents were middle class African Americans. They were one of the first Black families to integrate their neighborhood off of 8 Mile Road. My grandfather worked many jobs, but he was basically a mechanic, but he worked in a lot of plants. He worked at Ford, he worked at Chrysler, he worked at GM, he worked at Packard. Those some old school Detroit factory names, Detroit history for you. And my grandmother, she worked for herself. She was what we call a domestic. And so she went and worked for many people in a week. So she had maybe about 5 or 6 different jobs that she worked at, that she would go in and she would clean houses and cook and do housekeeping. And then she also worked as a designer. So on the side, she always loved to sew. She loved to crochet. She loved to knit. And so her side hustle was making dresses. And my grandmother can make a dress without a pattern. Without a pattern. If she sees something in her mind, she'll sketch it and then she'll make her own pattern and she'll sew it. So she has been a designer for many years. So eventually she was able to quit some of those jobs and become a designer and design wedding gowns and bridesmaid gowns and dresses. And she designed my wardrobe and all of those great things. And so my grandparents were able to buy a home. And this street was a very, very beautiful street, very, very beautiful tree-lined street. And everybody in this neighborhood were working class African Americans, middle class. I mean, I grew up in two worlds. I grew up on Livernois, Puritan, and Midland, Linwood area, and that was a working class neighborhood, but many people there were, struggling. So that's where my parents lived, and I live off of Lawton and Puritan, if you know that area, the University of Detroit area. So that was pretty, some parts of that area was decent, but they were basically working class families in that neighborhood. So I knew what it was like to fall on hard times. I knew what it was like to have to stand in the food line to get government cheese. I knew what Focus Hope was. I knew what powdered milk tastes like and powdered eggs. And that was, sometimes my family struggled a lot. And so did my friends who lived in that neighborhood. Their parents really struggled. And then we would go over to my grandparents' house. And my grandparents were, upper middle class African Americans, 2 cars, garage, beautiful home, all of those things. And so were their neighbors. So I got a chance to see two worlds. And I kind of liked this world. And so I work very, very hard and strive to work. I still work very, very hard because I want my children not to experience what I experienced in the world that I did with my parents. Now, it's no fault of their own. Everyone falls on hard times. And it's not really easy to raise a family, especially back in the 70s and 80s when the economy, especially the economy here in Detroit, was pretty, pretty bad. So, we all fell on hard times, and there's nothing wrong with learning and being able to teach your children about hard times. There's nothing wrong with that. Oh, is that a mosquito? It's flying really fast. That was a mosquito. Anyhow, I'm up in my room, and my son discovered some things back in June when we were here, and he discovered posters posters in my closet. And I really haven't gone through that closet in years. And he found some of my things in the closet. And my grandfather, when he was alive, he used my room for storage. So a lot of his things are in here, like that. The walker is in here, and some other items around here that he stored before he made his transition back in 2010. So, but in the closet, there are a number of things in there that still belong to my grandfather. I haven't gone through any of those things yet, and my grandmother probably really doesn't want to deal with that. And maybe next summer when I come out, I'll do it. But my son discovered some of my old posters that used to hang up on the walls here. Would you like to see them? I'm going to show them to you. Oh, the first thing I wanted to show you was my great grandmother's quilt. Now, remember I told you that I was crocheting I wanted to call it I call it a granny square quilt. And I named it that. I named it after my great grandmother's quilt. And there are two, I think it's two of these quilts. I see I lay under the first one, or I should say I lie under the first one, but there's another one around here I haven't found yet. But I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see this beautiful quilt. It's over 100 years old. Okay, and this is my grandmother, Anna Mae Jefferson's quilt. This is her handiwork, and she gave it to my grandmother. So let me turn the camera around so you can see the quilt. Okay, this is the quilt. My grandmother, I don't know if she was part of the quilting group that we now know of famously in Mississippi, but my grandmother, great grandmother, was from Mississippi, and this is her quilt. And when I come over, if I come over in the winter time or the fall here in Michigan, this is the quilt that's on my bed. And I love this quilt. I've always loved it. We had some cool nights here in the D, and I took this quilt off of my couch here, and I put this quilt across the bed, and it is just a beautiful quilt. It feels so warm, and you can see that she used different things. And see, back in the day when quilting was a necessity. It's an art form, sort of. Today, people just go to the store and buy squares of material and they put a quilt together. But back in the day, quilts were very, very necessary. This is how people survived. And so, as you can see, my great grandmother, she had, you can see there's several different patches of material. Because here's some. And then, there's another one that's a matching. So it could be like old shirts, maybe old dresses, things of that nature. So this is her quilt. And look at the stitching. I don't know if you notice that, but you can see that it's hand stitched. Some of it is wearing through, as you can see. But as you could tell, this was all hand stitched. That's all hand stitched. And I would love to learn how to quilt as well. That's why I was thinking about buying a sewing machine. Look at this. That's hand stitched. You see that? I'm going to post a picture of my great grandmother so you can see it, see her face. We called her Mama, my great grandmother, and she was almost 100 when she passed away. She was a very beautiful woman. She had very long white hair, and I would talk to her when she would come to town, visit my grandparents from Mississippi, and I just loved my great grandmother, and she loved me too. She taught me how to love honey, and I drink honey right now in my tea. She loved tea as well. And she was just a no-nonsense woman, very not no-nonsense. She was a short lady, and but she was a powerful woman. She was a powerful woman because she had been through a lot. I believe I want to say she had 12 kids, and I'm not sure, but I think when I looked at the ancestry, the census, she had 12 children, 12 kids. So she was no joke. Now, while my son was she was going through my things in the closet, he found some old posters that I had on the wall here in my room. And let me introduce you to some of my posters, okay? Hang on. You see my old TV? Okay, let's see. Okay, now I think you might know these guys. I was definitely in love with them for many years. Okay. Tears for Fears. Love them. Here we go. My Tears for Fears poster. Boy, I love me some Tears for Fears. I still do. I still listen to their music. They came out with some new music maybe a couple of years back. but I love me some Tears for Fears. So this poster was on my wall. I had several Tears for Fears posters. So this is on my wall. When I was a teen reporter at FM 98 WJLB, I received this promotional poster for Desperately Seeking Susan with my girl Madonna. Can you see the picture? I'm trying to unroll it and hold the camera at the same time. This is the Madonna poster from as Susan in Desperately Seeking Susan. Look at that poster. I'm going to tell you something. I watched that movie and the movie sucked. Sorry, Madonna. I think we all watched the movie because there was Madonna in it, but the movie really sucked. I think Patricia Arquette was in it. And that movie, the only reason why we all went to the show to see Desperately Seeking Susan was to see Madonna, really. That movie sucked. I think I got up a few times and just hung out in the area, in the main area of the movie theater. I saw Desperately Seeking Susan at the Adams Theater in downtown Detroit. So you could see like 3 or 4 movies at the Adams Theater for one price, and you would go down there, and it was just really a hangout. So I saw Desperately Seeking Susan. It was boring. It was bad. And I would just get up, go get some popcorn and some pop, meet some boys, hang out with my friends in the lobby, then go back and sit on down and talk about how bad the movie was. I mean, I would say the song Get Into the Groove, Get Into the Groove, that was the jam, but they only played a snippet of it in the movie. I would advise anybody, if you've never seen Desperately Seeking Susan, don't bother. Just watch the Into the Groove video. That's all you need. You don't need to see the movie. It was terrible. Okay, another poster I had was of everyone's favorite Detroit girl, Anita Baker. Hey, hold on, let's see if I can turn it around. There she is. Anita Baker. This was the Rapture, the poster for the Rapture album. Caught up in the rapture of love. Everybody, if you're in Detroit, everybody had a Anita Baker poster up in the house. Yep. I wanted to get my hair cut like Anita Baker, but my dad wouldn't allow me. Because that meant I had to cut my hair. And then when I did decide to get my hair done, I really need to put my cape back in my suitcase. I did go down to get my hair done by my aunt, and I got it like Sheila E.'s. And this is another poster. This is from the Crush Groove movie. So you had Sheila E., you had Fat Boys, Run DMC. Who else was in it? Curtis Blow, Blair Underwood. It was supposed to be the story of Def Jam Records, I think. It was supposed to be. Oh, New Edition was in it too. So there they are. I think in Crush Crew they sung My Secret. That was the song that they sung. So these are the posters that my son found in my bedroom. And those posters, oh my God, 40 years old. I was going to say 50, they're not 50 years old. Those posters are about 40 years old. I think Crush Crew came out in 84, 83, 84. Yeah, they're basically 40 years old, 41, 42. I know that Tears for Fears poster is 40 years old. Into the Groove, Desperately Seeking Susan, I think that poster is 40 years old as well. And because I believe that movie came out in 85, I was working as a teen reporter. And so that movie came out in 85. And Anita Baker's Rapture album, I think that came out in 84. So all of these posters are about 40 years old and still in excellent condition. Excellent condition. I took care of my posters because I love them. But you know what posters I really did not take care of as well? That was my Jackson posters. I have so many Jackson posters. In fact, I think some of them are in this closet right here. I need to go and find them, but they're put away. But I had so many Jackson posters, and I would change them and take them down, put a new one up. And, sometimes the tape that I was using wasn't good. The little invisible tape that Scotch used to have, y'all remember that magic tape? Magic tape was horrible on posters. They would just tear the posters up really, really bad when you would take them down. So a lot of my Jackson's posters, they're probably around here somewhere, but they're probably not in the best condition. But anyway, how I wanted to just show you those things that are in my bedroom. And it reminds me of being a teenager, what my life was. And as you see the curtain that's up there that has wine on it, that's part of my that's some stuff that I did in my early 20s. Maybe I'll tell you that story. My best friend and I was a hostess at a wedding. And her name was Debbie Moorhead. I was the hostess at her wedding. And my dress, my grandmother designed it for me. And it was a little bit taken from Jody Watley's dress, the Still a Thrill dress. You remember that Still a Thrill dress where she was dancing? And oh my God. So I had my grandmother copy that. And so that's what my dress was. It was a purple lace dress, and it had a lace skirt with a satin underskirt. And the skirt just poofed out because I had a thing under it to make it poof. And so that was my outfit. That was my outfit. It wasn't purple. I think it was like lavender or lilac or something like that. And we had a great time at the wedding, at the reception. We just party, had a wonderful time. And so her father had bought all of this wine and champagne, right? And so he said, why don't y'all just take some of this home? I'm giving it away because, the night is getting ready to end and I have a surplus of this wine and champagne. So why don't you guys just take it home? So I said, okay. And my grandma was like, well, why not? She doesn't drink. But anyhow, we brought it home. And so my friend and I, my best friend and I, we just got some fruit and we was just towed down from the champagne and from the wine. And so what happened was we were trying to open the wine bottle, okay? We were trying to open the wine bottle. And I don't know what happened though, but she opened it and the wine it just said, and the wine just came out and it just went everywhere. When I say it was everywhere, it was like on the walls, it was on my dresser, it was on the carpet. I really still think there's some on the carpet right now. And man, we was scrubbing. We scrubbed these walls. Oh, girl. We scrubbed the hell out of these walls. I'm surprised some of the yellow the paint didn't come off. But we scrubbed these walls, we scrubbed the floors, we scrubbed the dresser, we scrubbed everything. And then we had to take this down to get the stains out. So we took it down and we put it in the wash machine to get the stains out. And the stains never came out. Never came out. And that's why they're still up there for my drinking and having a good time day. So I told my grandmother that I was going to finally do something about that. Take them down totally and put some more curtains up there. And then I'm going to also take up the shag carpet and it's been clean, but the last time it was clean, it's been a while. So it really needs to be clean well. But I really want to take it up, period, because we don't need any shag carpet. It's wood floors underneath this, so it's Detroit, so it does get get cold, which is the reason why it's shag carpeting up here, because it does get cold. But and my grandparents wanted to keep me warm because I was asthmatic. So that's why there's wall to wall carpet here, shag carpeting, and nothing but the best for nail. I'm spoiled. When I say I'm spoiled, I'm a spoiled. I was spoiled. And so that's the reason why I said I'm going to take down the curtains, and I'm going to take up the carpet. It's been here for a long time. And, Nell is, a mature woman going through menopause. I don't think that, this carpet, I don't think I need it anymore. What do you think? So I'm getting ready to head on off of here. I'm going to take a little nap because I got to get up in a couple of hours because I got to be at the airport. But I just wanted to come on in and say howdy doody and just let you know what's going on with me and the D. And I hope you enjoyed this video of me talking to you a little bit and taking you to my bedroom, my childhood bedroom here in the D. And I'm going to miss it, but I love this room. I love this room. A lot of good times I've had in this room. I had a lot of friends in this room. Just a lot of fun. And just being here brings back a lot of memories from my childhood, from my teenage years, and all the way up into my early adult years. When I was pregnant and had my first child, I was living here in this room. Up in this house with my baby and my grandparents and my daughter's bassinet, my daughter who's getting ready to have a baby, as a matter of fact, her bassinet and her crib was in this room with me until we got our own apartment. So this room holds a lot of memories, a lot of good times. And I'm just happy to be able to, travel back and forth and be able to, come in this room and let the ghosts of my past surround me and love on me. That's a good thing, And I also feel the spirit of my grandfather in this house whenever I'm present, whenever I'm here. And I dream about this house. When I'm at home in bed at night, I dream about walking through this house, as I'm doing right now, walking through it. So this house is a very, very special place for me. Very, very special. Very special. As a matter of fact, I was born in this house. As I said, my daughter, when I was pregnant with my daughter, she was born here. I was born here. That's how long my grandparents have had this home. They bought this home, I believe they said in 1960. And my mother had me in 1967. She, was still at home. So, this house is born in me. I'm born in this house, and this house was born in me, and this is my room. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for listening to me and hanging out. And this is not the tiny studio exactly, but this was the first tiny studio. This was the first place that I painted and colored and crocheted and what else? All dreamed. This was the place, this bedroom. This is where little Nell got her start. Yes. And it's the love that's in this house that really continues to push me forward as well. This house has a lot of memories, and it sustains me. It's kind of like my own Terra. If you know what I mean, if you know anything, if you know what Terra represents or what I'm talking about, drop down in the comment section and let me know that you know what I'm saying when I say this is my own Terra. All right, then I'm going to hop off the line. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you are new to the channel, please think about subscribing and give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And if you would like for me to talk more about my stay in Detroit and my hauntings of Detroit, let me know. All right, I am out of here. I'm your girl Nell, and I'll see you next time in the Tiny Studio. Bye-bye.